number 15 Kansas State at Missouri, an 11 a.m. kick on the SEC network. And guys, I'm so intrigued by this game for a couple of reasons. I think Kansas State's offense is legit. They've been running over their opponents these first couple weeks, but I'm not convinced that Missouri does anything particularly well, whether it's offense or defense. I don't know that they play one side of the ball at an above average level. And yet, this line is only Kansas State -5. You look at the offensive weapons that we're going to see on display, and it's RJ Garcia, Phillip Brooks for Kansas State. Of course, we've talked about DJ Giddens. He's the leading running back for the Wildcats. Will Howard is a gunslinger, one of the most unsung quarterbacks in all of college football. On the other side, it's the Luther Burden story, right? What is Luther going to do this week? Last week, he had a tremendous catch that helped Missouri squeak out that win over the Blue Red Raiders of Middle Tennessee State. In this game, the line smells weird to me, but there's nothing that I trust Missouri to do other than play really good defense. Even if they limit Kansas State on the offensive side of the ball, what have we seen from Brady Cook? What have we seen from the Missouri offense that didn't even beat the Blue Raiders in convincing fashion last week to make me feel like the home team can compete, the home team can win here? I'm curious to have your input on this game. And Trey, we'll start with you. I'm on Kansas State minus the number here. I just can't find a reason to go with the Tigers.
I am as well. And I get that this is a rivalry game. I get that this is, Missouri's big home out of conference game, as Gary pulls our prediction graphic up there. This was a 7-point line last year with Adrian Martinez at the quarterback for Kansas State. And Kansas State won this game 40-12 in Manhattan. So if you're telling me that I get fewer points, I know it's on the road. I know it's in Como, and Como is going to be rocking for this rivalry game. But Kansas State has a better quarterback. I know they lost Deuce Vaughn. They have a lot of playmakers on offense. And I think their defense maybe even be a little bit better this year than it was last year. They have to cover fewer points against a Missouri team that I think is kind of more or less the same as what they were a year ago. Yeah, I'm taking Kansas State all day, every day in this game. I think it's going to be a competitive game. I don't think it's going to necessarily be 40-12 like it was last year. I think Missouri maybe has a better ability of putting the ball in the hands of their playmakers a little bit more this year. It certainly seems that way a little bit more on the early goings, but unless Missouri's just been holding something back for this game, what have we seen so far to give us confidence that Missouri can keep this one close? I really haven't seen anything. I know our friend Dan Keegan loves his Missouri Tigers. I know that he's probably fuming hearing this take, but I just haven't seen it from Mizzou yet. Maybe they show it for the first time this week, but the safer bet to me right now is Kansas State.
Yeah, I don't think that Kansas State has that same level of playmaker as a Luther Burden, right? I think Luther Burden clearly is going to be the best playmaker on the field, but Kansas State beats Missouri pretty much everywhere across the board outside of that, at least in my estimation. I think that they're going to be a lot better at the quarterback position. Obviously, we've talked about DJ Giddens plenty on this podcast. Big fan of what he does and his 6.7 per carry so far this season. And again, I just think it's going to be about the better team winning out. The -5, it does feel like one of those what does Vegas know situations. But at the same time, I'm going to lean into what I think I know, and I'm going to pick Kansas State to win this game by a lot more than 5.
Missouri has not exactly exploded offensively. Against South Dakota, they won 35-10. Last week against the Blue Raiders, they won 23-19. The Tigers are averaging just 215 yards through the air per game. So Brady Cook has struggled. The offense has not moved with any sort of efficiency. Their defense is I think they're right on the top 30 in total defense. So I really like what they're doing on that side of the ball. But without an elite offense that I believe can keep up with Kansas State, this is one of the more, in a week where there are a lot of big numbers, and there are a lot of lines that make you want to not take them at all, right? Just pass instead of sit on the fence and maybe fall off on the wrong side. This was one of the more confident picks I think that I had. So I'm curious, can Kansas State back it up? They certainly have had the gauntlet throw down by Texas, right, in the Big 12. Kansas State has to come prepared each and every week if they're going to compete in the Big 12 Conference if they're going to make statements that, hey, we can compete with the likes of Texas, Oklahoma as well. For me, this is one of those games.
Gracious, how about that?